First of all, happy New Year's to everybody. It is officially 2025. Let's all make this year great together. But for one final 2024 video, I want to go over every single FNCS that we had on NA and EU in 2024 and rank them from Hall of Fame all the way down to trash. Now, we had so much different content come out of FNCSs this year, from going back to season 1 of Mongraal playing in his first FNCS Grand Finals in almost 2 years. We obviously saw the rise of Peterbot throughout the whole year, and we saw multi-region FNCS winners. We have a lot to go over in today's video. Real quick before the video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are less than 100 subs away from 86,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to help me reach that goal, please subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Please use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. We are going to be starting off with season 1 of NA FNCS. All right, now starting off in season 1, this was the season that Cold and Acorn ended up winning Grand Finals. Cold ended up getting his second ever FNCS crown, and Acorn was able to get his third. Now, this FNCS had a lot of controversy, but some notable storylines is this was the only Grand Finals this year that Peterbot and Poyo did not win. They ended up finishing in second place of this Grands. Now, this was also the Grand Finals that Yamzo and Rise ended up getting hit off after being in first place for like 9 or 10 games of this tournament. Now, you guys can debate all you want if Yamzo and Rise were not to get hit off, if they would have won this Grands, or if Cole and Acorn's day 2 was just so dominant that nobody was going to catch them. Now, this Grand Finals, we also saw arguably Clix's best Grand Finals performance ever. This was when, of course, he finished in 4th place with Epic Whale, but this was the Grands that he got that mythic shotgun, as well as he had the sniper. And if he didn't end up leading in damage, I think he did finish in at least top 3. A lot of people said he was a potential MVP of this Grands as well, but I think this is also really where people really started to show players like Cold a lot more respect. He was going absolutely nuts this Grand. He really did show out and show why he is one of the best players in the entire world. Overall though, I think this Grand Finals definitely deserves an A ranking. It did have some super memorable moments all around, and I wouldn't really disagree with you guys if you wanted to put it in that Hall of Fame category. Here is also the final top 5 from that Grand Finals, but if I just had to say one thing, I think EU was better than NA this season.
In the boxes directly underneath him, can hear all that foot traffic moving around him, doing his best to stay undiscovered. Epic gets a big chunk out of Cold, but it's gonna be Cold who turns things around. Double elimination here onto Clix and Epic Whale.
Acorn and Cold have fought their way all the way up to first place, and it doesn't matter how you cut it, they will be your Grand Finals champions here. But can they close it out on a win? They sure can. A huge tag there, of course. Cold's gonna hit it back to back, and they do it again here.
Now, like I said earlier, EU season 1 was an absolute banger, as this was the season that we did get the return of Mongraal in Grand Finals. Both of their streams literally had like over 100,000 viewers each. The hype for this Grand Finals was so high, and the winner of it ended up being Mustache and Malibuca. Now, the hype wasn't just because Mongraal was playing. This Grand Finals literally got decided by only one singular point, and of course it was to the second place team of Queasy and Thomas. So that did mean that Thomas did keep up the second place curse, placing second place once again. And I think this is definitely one of the ones that stings the most for him, because it was legit by one singular point. This was also the first Grand Finals that we got to see Vino and Tayson play together, and I think this was one of the most disappointing performances for each of these players, as Vino and Tayson finished this Grand Finals in 15th place. Now, also Mongraal and Mr. Savage finished in 39th, so definitely not the best placement from them, but they definitely did not have like super high expectations going into this, as it quite literally was Mongraal's first Grands in over 2 years. If I had to rank this Grand Finals though, it would definitely go into the Hall of Fame tier, as this was one of the best Grand Finals I think we saw all year. Here is also the final top 5 leaderboard for season 1 Grands. We do see like the mini rise of Vico here when he was playing with Pink, as well as Marius. This is when he was really starting to pop off as well, and this is one of the placements that led to him getting called the EU Peterbot.
It's time to see the final leaderboard and who is raising the axe of champions. And we can now reveal that your champions of Chapter 5 season 1 by 1 point, of winners of $170,000, the active champions, and a spot in global championships is Murstache and Malabukas.
Chapter 5 Season 2. Now this was the season that we got to see the absolute dominance from Peterbot and Pollo. They were able to conclude the perfect season after winning every single Cash Cup, getting 6 out of 6 wins in the Cash Cup finals. They were able to conclude it by being the first ever duo to hit 1,000 points in a grand finals lobby, winning by like almost 300 points, I'm pretty sure, or it even literally could have been more than that. This was quite literally just the grands of Peterbot and Pollo. We also saw things like Click struggling, getting his worst placement of the year, finishing in 14th place with Epic Whale. If we look at the final top 5, we do see duos like Reet and Ritual finish in 2nd place, which was Reet's best ever grands placement on NA Central. We also saw the big one of Cold and Acorn finish top 5 after literally finishing day 1 in 33rd place. So that was a big storyline. They were literally the reigning defending champions and they were in 33rd after day 1. So still being able to place top 5 is super impressive. But obviously in 1st place, you see Peterbot and Pollo on over 1,000 points. If I were to rank this grands though, I think I would have to put it in the B category. Like besides the whole dominant thing from Peterbot, which I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of get a little slow after like game 9 when they were already up by like 200 points. They already clearly won with still like 3 games left to play in the tournament. I think the only real like memorable thing about this grands is they did hit 1,000 points together. But other than that, there really wasn't many other talking points. Still super fun to see a dominant performance. And this was really the grands that people started to call Peterbot the best player in the world.
Bit more passively. It's not just reckless keying at this point. It's all smart play. The reads are so good right there. And we talked about what he was capable of.
Now, Season 2's grand finals was the grands of Swizzy and Vaniac. These guys ended up winning by over 200 points in the grand finals, and Swizzy became a multi-region FNCS champion. If you guys don't know, Swizzy actually originated as an Asia player, and he was able to find mass success over there, winning an FNCS, and then literally switched to EU and was able to win an EU FNCS as well, proving that he is probably the greatest Asia player of all time. Some other big stories is like Chap and Teeny finishing in 2nd place, since this was literally Chap's first ever grand finals, and him placing top 2 in it was just such a crazy thing that not a lot of people expected. This was also the final grands that we saw Tayson and Vino play together. They finished in 11th place, and at this point I think it kind of was just safe to say that the Vino and Tayson experiment did not work. Here was the final top 6 leaderboard for the grand finals. We did see some other teams like Vidil and Rezon finish in 4th. The defending champions of Malabuka and Murstache finished in 6th. This grands, we also did not have Margle and Mr. Savage be able to actually qualify for the grand finals. I think this was still a pretty fun grands to watch, but just with all of these storylines in general, I still don't know if I would put it over like a B max.
The one between Teeny and Vaniac.
Martini's taking the sacrifice, going deep in his zone, quickly dashing his way there. Vaniac now trying to drop on down, and this is it. The final moment. He's trying to take over. He just doesn't want to take part in a game like this, but he is out of builds. And Teeny, he has the high ground, and he is ready to seal the deal. But up goes Vaniac, and he steals it away. 11 eliminations. What have we just witnessed?
How many more times is Vaniac gonna clutch?
Now, Chapter 5 Season 3 arguably brought us one of the worst Fortnite seasons of all time, but one of the best FNCSs of all time, as this was the season where we saw so many EU players come to NA. Players like Mongrel, Savage, Tayson, Vino, and so many others moved to NA, as well as one that I feel like some people forgot about, of the OCE boys of Alex and Worthy as well. This grand finals was so stacked. Obviously, we know how it did conclude with Peterbot and Pollo. We're getting the back-to-back FNCS wins, but this grand finals brought us so much content, and just this season in general. We got to see Vino put an absolute masterclass in this grands. We got to see Clix literally be in 1st place after 10 games of a grand finals, which we have never seen before. He had over 150,000 viewers, and then obviously we all know what happened with like the griefing and everything. But like I said earlier, in the end, it did come down to Peterbot and Pollo clutching up the very final games to be able to secure Peter's 3rd grand finals and Pollo's 2nd ever FNCS win. If we just take a look at the leaderboard, it was so stacked. We had Peterbot and Pollo in 1st, Batman, Booga, and Rapid, a duo that have literally been coming up together all year, finishing in 2nd. Acorn and Cold off of another crazy comeback, finishing in 3rd. Clix and Vino in 4th place, of course, where Clix always finishes in grands. It was a little bit of a disappointing finish for this duo because this definitely was Clix's best chance to ever be able to win an FNCS. And then rounding out the top 5 was Trashy and Threats. This was the season that so many players were trying to secure that final qualification spot into globals, and unfortunately teams like Mongol and Mr. Savage were not able to do it, finishing in 28th place. But we also know they had the whole thing with like the cactuses getting removed a day before grands that really did mess up their grands strategy. But still, overall, this has to be an S tier grands. I think this was by far the best FNCS of the year.
And we can say without a doubt, it is confirmed, Peterbot and Pollo have done it. The back-to-back has happened. Peterbot and Pollo, congratulations once again. The Axe of Champions will not leave their possession.
Now, on the other hand, EU this season, I think was honestly kind of like the little brother to NA, as most of the big name powerhouse like players were on NA for this season. The overall winners though was of course Vico and Flixie. Vico finally gets his FNCS win and really breaks out into a big name. We also saw players like Chap and Teeny finish in 2nd place again by only 10 points. This was kind of a 2-horse race between these two trios though, because literally in 3rd place of Swizzy and Vaniac were over 200 points behind these two trios. This was really a chance for a lot more of the underrated guys to really start to make a name for themselves on EU, and I think that is definitely what players like Vico did. Overall though, I think I would have to put this FNCS into like the C category. It wasn't like the worst thing I've ever watched, but it's still, especially in comparison to NA in the exact same season, it just didn't really come close.
Or did Flixie get the clutch of a lifetime? And Vico is going to be so happy that he chose him as his duo partner, because after a heroic performance by Flixie, they are your official FNCS Major 3 champions. It's Vico and Flixie.
Wow.
Now, finally, we are on to the Global Championships. Now, this was arguably the best Fortnite tournament of all time. We saw insane solo clutches from Peterbot, arguably the greatest solo clutch of all time. And I'm not going to lie, this LAN was heavily carried by the story of Peterbot and Pollo versus Queasy and Thomas. Peter was also able to complete the 3-peat and beat the cheating accusations, but I feel like this definitely also helped Queasy enter the best IGL of all time talks. And of course, Thomas HD did finish with another 2nd place. This was definitely the most memorable event of all of 2024, and I would even argue of all time in general, just because we did get things like the Peterbot solo clutch, the Queasy pretending like he's going to land on Peter in game 12, and just so many other memorable moments. If we look at the final top 5, of course it is Peter in 1st, Thomas HD in 2nd, then we had Trulex and Chicho in 3rd, Vico and Flixie in 4th, and Ping and Walks rounded out the top 5. This LAN also really did prove how much further ahead EU and NA are compared to basically every other region in the world. Some big names like Clix and Vino finished in 11th place, and I would also say probably the most disappointing team was Cammy and Seti in 23rd. A lot of people, including myself, had them in my top 3 for my final LAN predictions, and this team was just really disappointing all around during this global championship. Obviously, this is an S tier Hall of Fame FNCS of the year. I would definitely rank this as the #1 overall tournament we saw all year.
Would you please give it everything you've got for the FNCS Global Champions 2024 Peterbot and Pollo?
Other than that, what a crazy year for FNCSs all around. Hopefully some way trios can live up to some of the hype that duos had as well. I plan on being here all year, so if you guys want to join me on this journey in 2025 now, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are also on the road to 90,000 subscribers now. Please use code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube says don't enjoy 1 to 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at ChiliKDOG to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.